All right, today I wanted to talk about chord fingerings that you should avoid. Chord fingerings that you can use, they will play the chord properly, but will not change well to other fingerings, and they will ultimately slow you down. And these are something that a lot of people will use. You will find them in some books. Some books will have good fingerings, some will have bad. But here is a couple things to try and do so that you don't get caught in chord shapes that slow you down. First one, big one, E minor and A major. I guess that's two. Same problem with both of them, okay? People will try to play, let's go A major first. They will try to play the A major with the first, second, and third fingers, okay? So first on the fourth string, and then second and third as follows. The problem with that is that first you got to change your hand position. Your first finger is shorter than your other fingers. So if you're looking at your fingers, which finger do you want to go to the furthest string? Well, you want your fourth finger to go to the furthest string. So when I put my hand down and my second finger is going to the furthest string, it's nice and comfortable. If I try and make my first finger go, I end up adjusting my hand and I have to point my thumb in towards my body. Not good for changing to other chords. Other chords that get used with an A a lot would be like an A chord to an E chord, which is much easier to change to if I've got my second on top. Also to a B chord is a bar chord. Much easier to change from an A to a B if I keep my second finger on top. That way I just slide all three fingers up and add the bar. So that's the first one. And the E minor is kind of tied in there. You will find people that play an E minor with their first and second fingers. You don't want to do that. You want to play it with your second and third fingers. Why? How do you play an E major? You play it with second, third, and first. The change from an E major to an E minor should not be to have to change all your fingers around. You want it to just be lifting off your first finger rather than going. Now, granted, the E minor like this does change well to certain shapes of G, so there are times when you can kind of use that, but as a rule, get used to playing an E minor with your second and third, because it will change better to many of your other chords. Okay, so those two are big ones, and then the other big one's a G. G is one of the most common chords. It gets used in a ton of songs, and a lot of people will try and play it with their first, second, and third fingers. That's something you want to avoid, okay? Alternatives, play that with your second, third, and fourth fingers, exact same fingering. Or you can play first, second, and third on the second string and add your fourth finger. Okay, why these different Gs? Any combination of G, B, and D notes is a G chord. And so on the second string here, we have the option of playing an open B or a D. If you're playing the B open, which is fine, gives you the opportunity to go to a sus4. Lots of different changes you can do with that, and it changes well to a C chord. Okay, embellishments. Right, things that I can do that work well with that G chord being played 3-2-4. It changes well to a C chord. I don't even have to lift off that fourth finger. You can play a C chord with that fourth finger there, just like with the G chord, where you're allowed to have either a B or a D on that second string. On the C chord, you can have either an E or a G on that first string. So you can change to these, or even go to an F add 9 with very little movement of your fingers. Okay? The other G, playing with four fingers, changes well to a D, and you will find lots of people using things like a C add 9, an A7 sus4, an E minor 7th, where they can change to those other shapes and just leave the third and fourth fingers down. Things like Wonderwall, where they or Wish You Were Here. Whoops. So there are lots of songs that will keep the third and fourth fingers down like that. Good Riddance, Time of Your Life by Green Day. Lots of reasons to keep the third and fourth down. So don't play a G 1, 2, and 3. That's going to slow you down for lots of your chord changes. It doesn't change well to a D, It doesn't change well to a C. It doesn't change well to just about any chord that you're going to use with a G. So try and do either 2, 3, 4 or 1, 2, 3, 4 with the 3 and 4 down on the bottom strings. But avoid 1, 2, 3 like this. Avoid playing an A like this. And avoid playing an E minor like this. All right? It might seem like details, but you don't play chords in a vacuum. You play chords in a song. So you don't want to use the fingering that's necessarily always just the easiest to put down on its own. You want to use the fingering that is easiest to change to other chords with. All right? So till next time, keep practicing.